And boom, just like that, it's another Thursday night, and that means it's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, you know him as the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how the hell you doing, sir?
Munson, I'm doing great. I'm pumped up because it's Thursday night. I'm ready to talk some pro wrestling, and let's get down.
Well, guess what, Papa Smokes? I know how to get this party pumping even more than that, and that's by bringing in a friend. And I'm going to introduce him right now. You know him as the co-host on Taking Over. You know him as the leader in Wrestle Draft week after week, kicking some serious ass over there. And also, you see him all over the YouTube shorts. He's the master of the YouTube shorts here on our local establishment, Ol'Ed.
That's me.
Ol'Ed, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks you guys for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun here tonight. And we've got Amanda Bugle joining us in the chat. That is a name I have not seen here yet on Thursday night. So thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Really do appreciate that. We've got the voice, Joshua Joseph, my man, Munson and Smokes. Let's friggin' go. You bet, sir. We're going to have a great time here tonight. Thank you for all the love and support you give to our local establishment and all of us here. And we got Auntie Woogie. Hey, guys. Sorry I missed the last couple. Had big time work stuff. Hey, no problem. It's all good. We know you're always here supporting us in spirit no matter what. Thank you for joining every Thursday night that you do. We appreciate all that love and support. But damn, it's going to be a fun night tonight, guys. But Ed, just for the people who may not have caught you on any shows yet before, might be new to the chat, let them know a little bit about yourself. What does Ed Fries bring to the table? What you got that you work on?
I bring entertainment. I bring enthusiasm. I bring a carefree approach to wrestling. I like to have fun. Is the storyline great? Cool, whatever. Is the match fun? Great. All kinds of high-flying moves? Whatever. Am I going to have fun when I watch my wrestling? Yeah? Cool. All right, I'm going to have a good time.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. And for those of you who might be new in the chat, if you'd ever seen us before, myself and Papa Smokes, we are the team behind the camera and on the commentary for Prairie Pro Wrestling. We've also been rocking and rolling with the Video Bros Network now for 6 years. Been doing Ring Respect Radio for quite some time, so we're happy to be here and having Ed on here to talk some PCW Ultra. This is a company we've talked about before. We had Chris Parrish come on, do some PCW Ultra review with us at one point in time. We've had Joseph Samael, the owner of PCW Ultra, here on the show. And oh my God, I got to stop right there for just a second because Basser's in the house. Yeah, there's the other Video Bro, the third one in the group, joining us now behind the camera very, very shortly here. Basser is going to be part of the Video Bro section.
We'll train him. We'll train him, won't we, Munson?
I was already discussing his first duty there with some of the boys this morning. So we got a plan for you, Basser. You're going to have some work ahead of you come the next PPW show. And that's going to be coming up very soon.
You mean his first duty after getting Papa Smokes beer at the show?
Well, of course. I mean, that is
so
what
it's always job number one.
Yeah.
I know that, and I've never even been to a show. Job number one, Papa Smokes gets beer.
Well,
all other things happen afterwards.
That's right. And what he's got to do is he's actually got to get that beer and then put it in some sort of container that makes it look like Papa Smokes is drinking something that's non-alcoholic while he's working at the show.
Oh,
and then
okay.
That's what
Papa
the McDonald's
Smokes
cup
never
is for.
drinks on the job.
That's what the McDonald's cup is for. It's plastic. You can wash it out. It's durable. I used to work there. Trust me, I know.
How many cups did you find in the parking lot that just reeked of alcohol the night after Friday or Saturday?
At least 5 or 10.
Yeah.
Forget outside. Inside.
Inside alone. Oh boy.
Oh, inside, I would have that happen where people. Because you got to remember, I worked in a college town, so it would be Friday night, 11 o'clock at night. And all the kids would be coming in, and we'd have that 1 hour where we just have to suffer through it and get through that 1 hour before we could close the doors. And it would just, like, you get done with that, and it's like, yep, there's all kinds of alcohol in here. I don't care. I hit my sales number.
So you're the reason that Electric Six released the song "Everybody Down at McDonald's." I swear it.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We got to hold on here. Master coming in. I'll get Papa a Whoa, runner's bladder's full of whiskey and coke. Hang that shit off his back and he'll be hydrated all night. I don't need him running. I don't need him running to the washroom between every damn matchup the entire night. That might be a little rough.
I'd love to hear that main event call though. Just get me an audio of that main event if he's got whiskey and coke all night long.
I think Bastard came up with the ultimate solution right there. You just imagine that building is hot as hell as it is. Could you imagine having to run around in a pair of Depends while doing that video job for a few hours?
Don't, Munson. It's soon enough, but I'm not that old yet.
That's fair enough, Papa Smoke. I mean, I don't even want to think about getting to that point in my life. It's many years before I'll get to that point, hopefully. But gentlemen, I think we ought to talk a little PCW Ultra because I think that's what people want to know about, want to hear what our thoughts on this. Before we even get into this particular card, All Systems Go here from 2021, which was the very first card that they had back after pandemic times. This was the first time they could have fans. They could be in front of that crowd once again, and you could tell the crowd was hungry for some wrestling action in this one. Ed, I want to go to you first, though. I just want to get your general thoughts on the presentation of PCW Ultra and just how they did the setup of their ring, their cameras, what you kind of thought of the overall of the show.
So there was a lot of things I liked. I like Rich on commentary. It's a voice I know. It's a voice I'm familiar with. I would have liked him to have a color commentator. I hate one-man independent booths. It's just too much work for one person to do. I feel like there were things that could have been explained through the matches where we just had great wrestling and Rich trying to carry it all as best he can, but he takes some breaks and there's some moments there where a nice color commentator could have done stuff, especially explaining the dual shot or the double shot or whatever they called it, the 2 matches in a row for the PCW Ultra champ, the light heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
I would have liked an explanation as to, is this a brand new title? Is it vacated because whoever used to hold it before the pandemic has gone somewhere else now? Like, I would have liked some explanation because they never gave that. We didn't hear it until almost the end of the second singles match that it was even a vacated title. I'm like, as a viewer, I'm like, if I'm just jumping in here, this is a bit unusual.
No, I will back them up slightly on that one because what we are witnessing is the free version that they've provided to us. So what it is PCW Ultra actually have their own streaming service that you can pay the $9.99 a month for. So I'm certain that there would have been video packages, explanations, everything that would have led you to the conclusions that you had there. But what they're giving us is kind of the edited down version so that you get a bunch of the matchups that came from this particular card, well, not completely given away for free. It's their way of saying, hey, thanks for being fans. We appreciate you, but now come pay us some money because, hey, let's admit it. They put on a nice production. First, before we go on from there, Chris Parrish, my Brunch Buster brother right there joining us in the chat. We're going to be talking about our guest on Sunday on Busted Out, Mr. Alex Kane, the Suplex Assassin, who was on this card. Welcome to another edition of Ed Hates.
Ed loved a lot of this show. I'll be honest. Ed loved a lot of this show.
See, we knew what Ed would like, Parrish. That's the thing. We didn't subject him to something bad.
The other thing I'll say is there's one thing. The lighting and the camera work. Those 2 things made me miss WWE. And I know Papa Smokes isn't a huge WWE fan, but from a production quality standpoint, and I know I'm watching PCW Ultra, but I'm coming from the world of I watch WWE. The fact that the crowd was so dimly lit, especially in that main event, we'll get to it when we get there. The fact that it was so hard to tell at points what was happening in the outside brawl of that main event. And then the camera work just kind of... It seemed like they never quite knew where the cameraman wanted to be and they were rushing around to try to make it. Maybe they have 2 or 3 less cameras than they... And again, independent wrestling, you get what you get. But coming from the world of WWE and watching that production quality, it's like, ooh. Those are some of the things that were like, But, they, the commentary, Rich kept it up. And for the most part, you always knew what was going on. It wasn't that big a deal. But a couple of things that I saw, and I'm just like, that lighting could have been a little bit better. Anything that happened on the outside seemed like it was half in, half out of light.
Yeah, and that's where, and again, big production like a WWE has the money to spend to be able to make sure that these things don't happen. It's really tough with independence. And again, Papa Smokes and I play in that world as camera operators and everything like that. And you can't always control building lights and certain flashes from, cameras that people bring into the stadiums and certain things that you can do. A lot of the time, dimming down the audience, especially in an independent, is to try to cover some of the obvious things like the concession stand or the very open washroom line that happens to be standing in the background, that it ends up looking a little tackier on screen than what the dimly lit crowd is. But I get where you're coming from the perspective of watching the big production stuff, which, again, that's what I started on. I was used to the WWF back in the late 80s, early 90s, and therefore forward, where they had that money, that production and everything. So when I started watching independents myself, I kind of that culture shock that you get from it. I can relate to that for sure. As where, like, Pop Smokes, what was the production like on some of the shows you used to watch when you were younger?
Well, it's similar to this actually, and yeah, I agree a lot with a lot of what Ed said there. Some of that camera work looked a little shaky. Looked like the guys were kind of running to get into position to get the shot, and therefore it looked shaky and stuff. I can also relate to that. I've run to get a shot before, and it ain't easy. But yeah, it's obviously not got the same production value as some of the big companies. For me, I like that. I like it when it's a little rough around the edges sometimes. That's kind of the way I came up, was in the dark crowd with the bright lights on the ring. For me, it's always kind of like a prize fight feel, like a boxing feel. And I think that's what MLW goes for as well, is kind of making it look like an actual heavyweight fight of some kind. And so I like the dark crowd and the light ring. Not everybody likes it. In WWE, with the crowd completely illuminated, the crowd is kind of one of the characters in the whole story, right? Their reactions and everything. I get, excuse me, I get that too, but I like the way this PCW looks, even though it's a little rough around the edges.
And I love the way the PC Ultra show looked. I'm just saying it was the only time it was really tough was that main event. In the beginning of that main event, when you know, because before the show, Joseph, because I'm assuming this is PCW Ultra. This is the one that he helps run, correct?
Yeah,
it's his. He actually
okay. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. It's like he knows what his main event's going to look like. He knows where they're headed. So I just felt like, knowing that, there should have been at least some lighting set for the crowd, knowing they were going to brawl that direction. Because I had a feeling they knew that was coming.
For sure. And I bet you, and I can't speak for him, but I bet his explanation would be that this is what he grew up in as well too. And a lot of the time, like when we were talking to him, it's the kind of style that he was used to as well too, is what you see from PCW Ultra. But before that, again, Astrid joining us here tonight. Astrid, thank you for popping in. I know that you're lurking for a little bit, but you're also watching that Impact Wrestling, so I want everybody to go over to Astrid's channel. It's right there. It's on YouTube. It's also on the Twitch. Go and subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff that you do for us here at our local establishment. And check out Making an Impact here tonight, following Impact Wrestling. It's going to be a good one. I'm sure of that. If not, the show will be from Astrid and Cody, that's for sure. We got Master saying I'm ready to run and get the shot too, Pop. Well, speaking of shots, guys, I did say, Pop Smokes, last week something about subscribers and shots of whiskey, and I know that we hit, and it almost came close to 2 shots worth of subscribers here on the channel. So I just want to give a cheers to everybody who subscribed to OLE's channel just recently. Cheers to all of you, and to everybody who's also been loving and supporting us all this way. Thank you very much. The Jack is going down.
I didn't know I needed alcohol.
Cheers, everybody. But
yeah, Munson.
Cheers, Ole.
Yeah. Here's Ole. That's right. And sorry, no way. I'm not used to having double button pushing here tonight.
I'm the guest. I don't need to push buttons. I keep forgetting that.
Just relax. Bad button Bobby here will take care of this one for us. We got Trin's debut tonight. Yes, so that should be very, very exciting. I've been right there alone is worth watching. Watching Impact Wrestling here tonight, and also checking out Astrid's show. Following that as well too, so very exciting times in professional wrestling. Let's go down into the card there. I know you mentioned Rich Bocchini on commentary there, Ed. I will give a shout out. Rich Bocchini did Ring Respect Radio here with us one night. Fantastic time. We learned a lot from him, a lot that we've actually carried into the commentary we do for Prairie Pro Wrestling. Again, very thankful for what Rich Bocchini was able to sit down and talk to us as well too. Don't let Bobby push the buttons. That's the ongoing joke, and I'm going to carry it with me. Bad buttons, Bobby's at the helm. You're going to have a fun old time. But yeah, Rich is awesome. He does a great job, even on his own. I mean, he does a great job of carrying it. I know how damn hard that is because I tried doing it for HIW before Papa Smokes was on board because we didn't have anybody at the time. I sat down with it. I turned around after about an hour of trying and I said, no, this shit's not happening. Called the boys and I'm like, nope. I'm like, I ain't carrying this by myself. This is terrible. I can't stand it. It's like talking to a wall. I don't like it. It's like, find me somebody. And that's when, of course, Papa Smoke's number was given to me and history was made from there. Albeit the first little bit was kind of rough. Learned so much from Rich. We had right off the hop in this thing, we got, I believe Denise Alceda was on the stick there. She calls out Ron Simmons. So Ron Simmons, a special guest of PCW Ultra. Damn, boys. What do we think of this? Ed, Ron Simmons.
I mean, he's done better. He kind of phoned this one in. This was an okay promo from Ron Simmons. I think the most entertaining thing was that he tried not to have to say damn 3 times. Yeah. And then he had to keep forcing him to do it. Other than that, not a lot happened. Like, no. He was, in that group, he was never the talker to begin with. So, bringing him out here to put him on the microphone is a little bit of an upward challenge for Mr. Simmons.
Yeah. Again, I'd rather be watching his wrestling most days than listening to him talk personally. But yeah, Pop Smoke's thoughts on Ron coming out here to start things off.
Well, it just seemed that they booked him for the show. He wasn't going to bump or do a match or anything like that. So they kind of had him as like a special guest host at the beginning is how it struck me anyway. Just warm up the fans, give them a little thrill and you say your catchphrase and get the hell out. And good booking for Ron, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably best paycheck he's ever earned doing something like that. So can't go wrong there. Let's get into the actual wrestling portion of this, though, guys. First of all, we had making his PCW Ultra debut, JTJ. You should be very familiar with this, one half of the wrestling tag team known as Crime Time. JTG making his debut against Steve Madison, who I was not familiar. I'd heard of Steve Madison, but I don't think I've sought out any matchups. This was an interesting kind of big boy matchup to kick things off here. A lot of muscle in this one. Some very, very nice, clean work. JTG is just, he hasn't missed a step. He looks like a pro in there, every single thing he did. This looks like wrestlers wrestling. That's what I liked seeing in this one. Yeah, but let's build on that. I'll go over to you first on this one, Pop Smokes. Your thoughts on JTG and Steve Madison.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a perfect opening match for a card. It wasn't like I think that you should use a moderately strong match, at least for the first match, just to get everyone, to kind of give everyone a little introduction as to what's going to happen throughout the entire evening. These guys came out looking good, both big, both in shape, and did a nice match to warm up the crowd. Started with a lockup, right into some chain wrestling, running the ropes. Now Madison, after a couple minutes, takes over with some underhanded tactics, build some heel heat for 3 or 4 minutes. They do a couple more minutes and a finish. This was nice, and a nice 9-minute match to start the card. And both guys pretty good wrestlers, man. I have to tip my cap.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well said. Oled, your thoughts on this opening bout?
It's so weird seeing, older JTG. He's so jacked and, up there for it. And it's just, man, like I remember little itty bitty JTG in Crime Time next to Shad Gaspard.
Yeah.
We have not yet, Ashford. We will talk about that in just a little while. With Shad Gaspard, and by the way, 3 years today, I believe it is, or it was either today or yesterday, that since we had lost Shad Gaspard.
Yeah, that's sad. Very sad.
But it was nice to see JTG in there. Dude's great. I loved his work in NWA. When I was watching the NWA, it was fun to see JTG doing his thing over there. Yeah, it was a great match. Rick mentioned on commentary that Steve Madison was one of the guys that Eddie Guerrero chose to help him when he was getting back into shape and back into the ring to help get him ring ready. And I'm like, That's something I didn't know. That's why that's what good commentators do. They pull out a fact that you have no idea about and bring it in.
Yeah, and that's why I absolutely love Rich's work. I think he's fantastic for that exact thing. He like he explained to us, it's about filling that void. He said too many commentators nowadays want to go a mile a minute and name every single move they see in the matchup. So they go and they study and they learn these obscure names that they use over in Japan for a lot of these maneuvers and bring them over here. And that's all they fire off for the entire time that they're on commentary. And Rich is like, it doesn't tell a story. You got to build a narrative here. You don't need to call every single thing in the ring. You need to tell us, why is this guy doing this? Why is he doing that? What is the story? What is the why is what it is. And that's what Bocchini does well. And he brings that depth to it, which is nice to see. Just to let everybody know this one, Madison got the abdominal stretch, a pinfall, picks up the big victory. 1, 2, 3. This was a sweet way to start this thing off.
Creative finish.
Oh yeah.
Abdominal roll into a package. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah. It made me want to watch more Steve Madison. That's for damn sure.
Well, and the way the match built up too, I could have swore JTG was going to win that, like they swerved me at the end with that finish too. Really well done.
Yeah. Awesome.
And JTG sold it like they swerved him too.
Yeah.
The end? We're done?
Yeah. Where's my paycheck? No, fantastic work. Loved it. Great way to kick off. Next up, this one, I can't wait to talk about this because there's one guy here we've been seeing quite a lot of lately. And both these guys, a couple of staples currently in the MLW roster. Talking about Juicy Finau, one half of the MLW World Tag Team Champions, and one called Manders. So this one, of course, very big boys. Manders is normally a pretty sizable boy, but he looked like a very small guy in this matchup compared to Big Juicy. Ed, I got to go to you first. Thoughts on Juicy? Thoughts on Manders? What'd you think?
Juicy is wow. That's a big old dude. Like,
it's a big old dude.
He does more than you'd think he does. But he doesn't do as much as you think he would do to make you think he's doing more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He keeps it
now.
I was going to say, he keeps it simple. It's not, he goes over and above what you think he'd do, but he doesn't try to make up for the fact that he knows he's a bigger dude. He's not going to be able to do a lot of stuff, but he so much entertainment in him. The no-selling on things that you can just see, there's a reason why he's no-selling this other than just being an ass. Like, he's no-selling for a reason. It's telling the story of the match, and I love that.
Now, I didn't want to leave Basser's comment up too long because I noticed that I was covering up Ed's face there while you were talking, so I didn't want to be rude. But Basser saying, boys, not to interrupt more than I normally do. It's all good, dude. We want interaction. That's what happens. That chat gets hopping. We get talking. But yeah, not to interrupt, but he's loving the 3-piece with the addition of Ed. Yeah, you bet, man.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely love having Ed here with us tonight. And again, just in general, you guys, anybody tuning in, if you want to be a guest, not just here on Ring Respect Radio, but any of the stuff we got going on in OLE, you got to reach out to us, get on some of these shows, do some work with us, because again, I like having group panels. Group panels are a lot of fun, especially when you keep it to 3, 4 max kind of thing. It keeps it tight, keeps it interesting, keeps the flow going, and keeps the people interested. But you'll check out that ticker below. It's going to lead you to all our socials. It's going to lead you to the email. Reach out to us for your opportunity to be on a show down the road as well, too. Always happy to have you guys here with us. But yes, going back, sorry, to kind of cut in there, Ed, but we were talking about Big Juicy. I mean, he's definitely, even now, he's gotten even more interesting, too, with the tag team with Lance, and he's doing frog splashes off the top ropes, and the ring just about collapses every time. But, yeah, he's quite the character. But, again, I want to also know what you thought of the one called Manders as well, too. Thoughts on him?
I've seen him. I feel like I saw him when I used to watch MLW before. I feel like he's been in MLW for a while. I was watching during the pandemic, and I feel like I saw him in some of the Battle Riot stuff that I was watching before. Good dude, solid dude. I'd like to see him in something else. I don't think, as much as I loved Juicy, this wasn't the greatest matchup for the two of them, because I think it showcased Juicy just fine, but I don't think Manders got as much shine as I think he needed to.
Yeah, and again, checking out Manders now. He's part of that three-man trio there over in MLW. Sorry, I'm slipping on the name of that trio there, Papa Smokes. I'm going to go over to you. Do you remember the name of them?
It's Ravens Group, The Offering, or something like that.
Is he? No, that was the calling is Ravens Group. That's the one he's part of. Is it that one there?
Isn't it? Yeah, I thought so.
See, I thought he was.
Sure.
I thought he was in the one with Mance Warner. I wasn't too sure.
Well, I don't know. If we could watch the damn show, maybe we'd know this stuff. But
well, guess what? We're going to be able to.
We got to catch up. We're a little bit behind. It's hard to follow it from little snippets here and there on Twitter or whatever.
Well, so let's second gear crew with AJ Gray, Effie, Mance Warner, and Matthew Justice.
There it is. Yeah, the one? That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of because they were feuding with the calling, is what it was. So Ravens Group, the calling has been taking them out. I believe now at this point they're actually going after Jacob Fatu and the Small and SWAT teams. So they've been out there causing all sorts of chaos on the MLW roster. But we are going to get to catch up finally, Papa Smokes, because the very popular MLW and the very popular review show that we've done is going to be coming back at you. The doubleheader Thursday nights of Fusion mixed with Ring Respect Radio are going to be happening very soon. I believe even next week, if I'm not mistaken, Papa Smokes, that MLW might be back in action. We'll get back to it one way or another. I know we got a lot of PPW work ahead of us. We might have to hit up a different night or something like that. We'll see what comes about. But either way, we're going to get back to this fusion combo that we used to do because damn, those were some fun times.
And I'm excited just to see if Filthy Tom Lawler is still the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. That's a good call there.
Okay, it hasn't been that long, but yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. But now I'm just going to go back to you there, Papa Smokes, though. Your thoughts on this matchup. Again, you're familiar with both these gentlemen. What did you think of Juicy and One Call Manders on this card?
A pretty cool match. Obviously meant to kind of put Juicy over, but Manders looking good in this too. I've been curious to check out his stuff. He's a bigger guy than I thought he was. Kind of a throwback to almost like a Ron Bass or a Black Bart or one of those guys from the Southern Territories in the 80s. But cool, not too bad. What Ed was saying about Juicy no selling stuff, yeah, got to agree with that. I mean, he's so tremendously big. Like he's got to be 6'4", 6'5", and he's a giant. So no selling stuff for him to do makes sense under certain circumstances. So that was pretty cool. They had a nice brawl though, and I liked this match. It wasn't my favorite from the card by a long shot, but I still like this. I'll take me some Juicy Finale anytime. And never forget, Munson, when we picked our kind of blue chip indie picks on this podcast a couple years ago. I picked Juicy Finale as one of the breakout stars. Hasn't exactly broken out yet, but he's on the up and up.
He's on his way up. That's for damn sure. We got to do that again sometime soon. I'm thinking, Papa Smokes. Maybe we'll have to have Ed in and sure. Ed and someone. We'll get another one in here. We'll get a panel of 4 here, and we'll do another random roster pick of indie wrestlers that we'd like to see, kind of thing, to form our own little company.
And then we'll check the next year and see how everybody's picks are doing.
I like the sound of that. Gentlemen, we're going to get into something interesting here on this card. This one for the Ultralight Championship, as Ed was saying at the beginning of the program, that there wasn't really the context as to why the title was vacated, but the title was vacated, and it was going to be crowning a new champion in what was known as the double shot duel. I see 4 guys on screen. I'm like, we're going to have a 4-way dance or whatever. I was like, these can sometimes be disastrous, but this was different. And very interestingly different because they took a totally different approach once you found out what the double shot duel was. They start this thing off as a tag team matchup where 2 of the opponents on either side of the ring partnering up with the intent that the team that wins is then going to go on those 2 guys to a singles match to then crown the champion. So not only if you're getting the first pick, you're trying to pick a partner that not only you can work with and win the match with, but that you think you have a choice of going over when you get to there. So it ended up being, I think it was not Vidal, but Vandegrift that ended up getting the first choice and picked Vidal. So that left Class and Lucas Riley, and Class, CLAS. I didn't write down all 4 names, but I thought that was kind of funny. I thought Michael Allen Richard Clark was the only wrestler with 4 first names, but apparently
He has the
Class is
longest
trying
name.
to contend. He definitely
Class
has the
is
longest.
longer.
Yeah,
He's definitely the longest now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I was definitely thinking the same thing. It's perilously close to being the longest name for sure.
Oh, can you imagine that build up right there? The battle for the longest name in professional wrestling between Class and Mark.
You guys got to make it happen in PPW. Get this guy up from Southern California. Get him up there to work with Michael. Because I heard it, I'm like, he looks like him, and he acts like him.
Yeah.
Damn it! Is that Mike?
Trunks.
Is that Mark in just in a different name in the United States?
It was so spot on. It would play out so beautifully, and you know what? It's what made Class stand out for me in this thing too, because he had the different colored shorts. He had a bit of a different look, a bit of a different attitude about him, and it stood out like a sore thumb from the rest of the guys. The other one for me that really stood, Jay Vidal. He's got a very sharp look, nice, good-looking young man there, has some nice stuff. But Matt Vandergriff, while he doesn't necessarily stand out as you haven't seen somebody that looks like him, he had a great set of moves in this matchup. He had a lot of nice stuff. They got out their flip-de-doos. I had to write that down there for you, Ed. They got their flip-de-doos and don'ts out of the way in this one as much as they could. But this wasn't bad considering that this was lightweights. We knew it was going to be a little bit more on the high action, high flying kind of risk. They didn't overburden us with the flip-de-doos either kind of thing. I thought that this was grounded a little bit more in reality. And I thought all 4 guys did a great job in the opening portion of this. And then we'll talk about the second portion of it with you 2 guys here. First of all, I'll go down to our guest here, Ed. Your thoughts on the tag portion and the finish, the one-on-one portion of this one, the overall presentation of the double shot duel.
I liked it. Like I said, the only thing I really didn't like about any of this match was I felt like we were just missing that extra bit from commentary during the commentary of the match, being like, this is a vacated title from X, Y, and Z, or it's a new title from X, Y, and Z. It's nice to see. I've been watching and helping out with Making an Impact for a while. It's nice to see Jay Vidal wrestling, because if you catch him over on Impact, he is the personal stylist for Giselle Shaw over on Impact right now currently.
Really?
I've only seen him wrestle the once.
Interesting.
And it was kind of like it was him versus Johnny Swinger, so it was kind of like a gimmick, kind of cheesy comedy match. This was great. I love seeing him work in this match. But my God, Class and his tag team partner, and I have no idea who he was. I won't remember him. I don't care about him. It's all about Class being upset that he tagged himself in, went ahead and did all the work, and then he was admiring his work, yelling at his tag team partner. His tag team partner then did the same thing to him, and he's like, I'm mad. He gets kicked in the head, and he's like, I'm still angry. Tries to go in to save his tag team partner, hits his tag team partner, trips over him, and that's how the finish comes. It was so good. Class was... I don't care about any of this match. It's all about Class. He made himself, in a losing effort, the star of both of these matches, even once he was gone.
Yep. He really did. 100%, Ed. He stood out like a sore thumb for many, many reasons, and I love that part of it. Of course, he didn't make it to the final 2. That ended up being Jay Vidal and Matt Vandergriff, with Jay actually winning the overall and becoming the new champion. But Papa Smokes, your thoughts between this tag match, the singles match? What did you thought of these 4 guys?
I agree with Ed 100% that Class really was the top worker in this. He was working the crowd. He has a little bit of an obnoxious, arrogant heel gimmick going on, a beautiful guy and all the rest of that stuff, playing it, working it, looking like a complete jackass in this match. And then that's how that finish worked so good, is that the crowd loves it when his antics blow up in his own face and work against him. Absolutely perfect. I love that, except that I think he should have been in the singles match afterwards. But the singles match afterwards, even though neither of those guys caught my attention that much in the tag match, was better than the tag match. I preferred that. The guys put in some good work. And it's not completely to my personal taste of matches. There was a lot of stuff to get out of the way and a lot of spots and not a lot of psychology or anything like that, but they did their stuff. The crowd was with it, so I can't really argue against this. And it's a lightweight kind of style match, so obviously it's going to have a lot of aerial spots and all kinds of monkey business like that. So yeah, good job by the guys. I'm fine with a match like that. As the third match on the card, nice, keeping everybody keeping the crowd up, keeping them awake, giving them some speed now, right? Like, it's all about how you structure the card sometimes, and this made a ton of sense to me.
Yeah,
because
and I think
this
oh,
card.
sorry.
Sorry, I was just
no, go ahead, Ed. Yeah.
The only reason why I like the placement of this match and being the, as I call it, the flip-de-doo match, is because the rest of this card is going to ground to a halt the rest of the way. You know, in booking this, Ruby Reyes versus Viva Van, you know, backstage when you're planning these things out, you know what that match is going to give you. Just putting the match on the card, you know exactly what you're getting from Alex Hammerstone versus Alex Kane. And then you know the chaos that you're going to get in the main event. Because it's that special rules match that all of Joseph Samael's matches are, as they explain. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was missing in this match is they bend over backwards to make sure we understand that every time you face War Beast, that this is what you get. We couldn't have one line in the the double shot to explain why we're having this match for this title. It felt weird. Yeah. But, yeah.
No, and I agree with you there too. Maybe we'll have to reach out to Joseph Samael for some clarification on that, so we know.
No. He knows infinitely more about. He's forgotten more about this business than I'll ever know. So if this is how he's doing it right. I'm saying from an outside observer seeing one show, it felt out of place.
I'm just busting.
I'm not having that man come after me telling him that I know more about his wrestling booking than he does. No. I saw that man on this show. No.
See, I already owe him taking a fireball from him sometime for screwing up now. But look at Parrish is gonna cause shit now. Just stirring the pot as always.
Hold on while I deactivate my Twitter. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm dropping off the socials, just like every wrestler ever. You're right. This was a fun. It had its right placement on the card. This is what gets that crowd hot, and you know what you're going to get into for the rest of the card as well too. So let's move on from there and now talk about the match that I know Astrid's been waiting for us to talk about, because one of these two ladies has been on her very show, Astrid Asks, and that is Ruby Reyes. And a shout out to her, who also was very adamant in letting people know about what we're doing here tonight as well too, kind of giving us the accolades for doing this review here tonight. So again, thank you, Ruby Reyes. Thank you, Astrid, because that connection comes directly from you and the people that you have on your show and do a great job with. This was really the first time I had seen either one of these. I know Joseph Samael talked very highly of Viva Van when he was on our show there, very much recommending her. Ruby, both her and Viva were new to me at this point in time. I didn't get to see a lot of Viva in the match, clearly, because of the way it was constructed and stuff like that. Not to say I wouldn't be interested to find out what she can get done in the ring, but this match was made a certain way. This was Ruby coming in there, being the what are they? Sorry, the name that they call her is the equal opportunity ass kicker. That was the name. I love that title. That is fantastic. And she comes in there like an absolute dominant champion, beating the absolute tar out of her opponent. And it took that out of nowhere, unexpected turn for it to go in favor of Viva Van in this one. I like the way this was put together. This was how you do something like this, especially talking about that run that Ruby had as the champion. She had had a very dominant run for a long period of time as the PCW Ultra Women's Champion. So I like the way it was put together. Ed, going to collect your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I really like this. I have one question. They touted her 1,000-day plus reign. Did they have shows during the pandemic era?
See, that's the thing. I think a lot of companies have said that before too, is that they didn't have shows, so they did count those days still. But some of those wrestlers did wrestle for other companies during that time. So I don't know the logistics of defending of the championships or anything like that. Because you could make the same argument for Hammerstone, for Fatu, for any of the guys that were in MLW at the time that were holding championships. So
I like the idea that they tout the 1,000 days. They don't tell you why, but they're like, she's been our champion for 1,000 days, and it's like, yep, she has. Of course she has. There's no reason why she wouldn't.
But consider this, because you come from the same era I do with watching wrestling. Now, you turn on WWF Saturday Superstars back then, and they're telling you something like that. You didn't have the internet to go search it out, find out the truth. So you believed every word they told you as gospel. You believed Andre the Giant was 7'4" and 565 pounds or whatever. You believed that Yokozuna was actually from the land of the rising sun, because that's what they told you. We had nothing to dispute it at the time.
I was so surprised when I found out he was a Samoan. Oh my God. The day I found out he was an Anahuachi was a sad day in little Ed's life when he found out he was an Anahuachi. No, I really like this. I like the story because the story doesn't end with the match. The end of the match doesn't end the story. It goes on. We'll see it in the afterfall of the match where Ruby just beats her up, leaves her with the title. At the end of the show, we see Ruby Reyes again. We hear that we're going to see Viva Van again. I'd like to see that next portion where we have that 8-man tag that we're going to talk about potentially getting. I'm like, literally after the show ended, I'm like, where's that other one? I want to see that main event.
They do leave it on that cliffhanger, of course. But yeah, that's where they get you. They rope you in. They want you to subscribe to their service so you can go check out the full events and everything there. But yeah, it was an interesting match to say the least. Pop Smokes, your thoughts on these two ladies? What you thought of this matchup, and how it was put together?
First of all, just I guess I'm kind of new to both these wrestlers too. I follow Viva Van on Twitter after Samael had spoken so highly of her, and I have a good opinion of her. I haven't seen much of her stuff, only some clips, so I was anxious to watch this because I wanted to see her skills. Ruby Reyes was awesome to me. So big, so strong. She looks like a throwback lady wrestler from the 80s or before, when being sexy and desirable wasn't the main thrust of your whole thing, but was to look tough. I mean, like Munson, we watched a couple of those Joyce Grable and Judy Martin matches from the 80s, and we were saying they look like they are part-time wrestlers, part-time tow truck operators or something. They look like they could go into a bar and beat up most of the dudes in there too. That's what Ruby Reyes reminded me of. Doesn't care to go for the beautiful or sexy look. She's going for the big tough guy look. And I totally know this kind of match. It's an archetypal match in wrestling. Is the heel jump starts the match, beats the babyface all throughout the match, all throughout. Babyface can't get anything going, and then gets the quick pin. I get it. It's a perfectly legitimate style of match. But after Reyes' long title reign and after this match like that, it struck me as funny. I almost wondered who Ruby Reyes had pissed off to get booked in a match like that. Or am I on the wrong track here? Is that I feel like it's a strange way to do a championship match that ends a long reign.
I think this is the point where. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, yeah, go for it.
I think at this point, she started to work for WoW. Yeah. They're starting to rebuild WoW, and I know that she was headed there in the early days of rebuilding that. So I'm not sure the time frame, but that could be it. Or maybe the extent of her being able to be on all these shows is, running out, because they talked about the champions who were there before, the Tessa Blanchards and the Sumi Sakais, and you quickly tell that this title isn't a title that's held by the women of PCW Ultra. This is a title that's held by the people they bring in, to the lady wrestlers that they bring in to help boost the numbers of PCW Ultra. And there's nothing wrong with that. Having a Sumi Sakai, Ring of Honor did that for years with their women's championship. Having a Tessa Blanchard at that time was a very smart idea. Now, not so good. Then, really, really smart. But I think that's where I think it was. I think she was headed to start working with WoW, and I think maybe her availability was ending up. So they had to do something. and this might have been the best sense.
Yeah, perfectly said, Ed. That's kind of where I was going with it too. I believe that was probably it, and that was probably why this was done. Really, I think they needed to smash over their new women's star, and that's what it ended up being. That was the way to get Viva Van over as the champion, to put it on someone new and go with that as your run. And it seems like it's worked out pretty well, because she has been a rising star with PCW Ultra ever since. Samael talks so very highly of her, so again, that's a great accolades coming from the boss over there. Papa Smokes, our good friend Josh here, he's a big fan of your voice. Last week with the compliment saying you're like a Mellow Ventura. Now wondering where he can get the Papa Smokes voice soundboard. Wants to know who to contact to make this happen. Well, you know what? At the end of the show, I think we do a little thing where we give out the ways to contact. So just stay tuned, and you'll find a way you can get a hold of that partner in crime of mine there, and find out just how to get that voice locked down.
You're going to do a deep fake and have me saying some stuff I never said?
He just might want it to fall asleep to, just that soothing Papa Smokes to relax him off to sleep every night.
Yeah, I should do an ASMR channel maybe.
You could. And just, just hopefully he doesn't sound clip you going, oh, I really, really liked that Firefly Funhouse matchup the month made me watch.
That's been one of the best things in wrestling in the last 10 years.
Well,
I know he's not going to agree with me, but I'm telling you, it was fantastic.
Get him to say, oh my.
Oh my.
There you go. Very, very.
There's a sound bite for you.
Yeah. We're going to be clipping all sorts of shit out of this episode, that's for sure. But moving on here from here, gentlemen, this is a fun one that's going to be talked about here coming up next, because it also ties into what we're going to be doing here with the Video Bros coming up very soon in the month of July. But before we talk about the last two matchups on this card, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Rogue Energy as a sponsor of the show. If you look beside Ol'Ed over there is a QR code that you can scan, or go to rogueenergy.com and use that promo code OLEPODS for 10% off your order. Here is a quick short video for you guys that's going to show you some of the great flavors from our friends at Rogue Energy, and we'll be back with you in about 40 seconds. And as we said, that is our friends over at rogueenergy.com. You can check out the ticker below at the bottom of the screen there and use that promo code OLEPODS. That's going to get you 10% off your order. People are loving it just as much as Auntie Wuji's loving that deep, deep voice of Papa Smokes and his soon-to-be ASMR channel here on YouTube. And Chris Parrish coming in saying blue raspberry and strawberry kiwi are now back in stock. So get it today before they sell out again. Because, man, I think a lot of people can attest to just how awesome the flavors from Rogue Energy are.
Yeah, I love the watermelon. Watermelon, as I always say, on Taking Over is my absolute favorite. So,
absolutely awesome. Well, gentlemen, we got a couple of more matches that we're going to be talking about before we get into this next one. A little bit of history on this. So these two gentlemen we're about to talk to are going to be locking up now 2 years later for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be on July the 8th at Never Say Never. And for the first time ever in history, damn it, MLW is going to a live setting on Fight TV Plus. So get your subscription to Fight TV Plus. We're going to get ourselves all set up here. And I know for sure that Pop Smokes and I are going to be doing some sort of watch-along or review of the show that night. Again, Ed, you're always welcome to join us as well, too, on Saturday, July the 8th. We know that you like your MLW as well, too, so feel free to come join us here and get in on the action as well, too, my friend. It's going to be awesome. And, Josh coming in, Chris Parrish with the inside knowledge. He knows his stuff. He's got a he's got a good head on his shoulders, that one, and he gets the email said, well, that helps too. I guess nothing like underselling yourself a little bit, Parrish. But yes, July the 8th, we're going to get that championship match between Alex Kane and Alexander Hammerstone. Back to you, Ed. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and speaking of Alex Kane, if you want to see him before July 8th, where can people find him?
Oh, I heard a little bit of a rumor that he's going to be joining us right here on the channel this coming Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern with myself and my brunch buster brother, Chris Parrish there, because busting out goes Beaumaye this Sunday. It's going to be awesome. Alex Kane, it's the second time I've been able to sit down with him. This guy is high energy, fun as hell, just a great overall dude. I can't wait for round 2 with Alex Kane. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch.
Oh, no doubt. I'll be checking that one out. And like you said, he's a great guest. He's very intelligent. He's high energy, and we had a great time with him. I can't wait to watch you guys interview.
His TikTok is must see too, by the way. I love when because he answers questions. Like, people post things and they're like, they post these opinions, and he's like, no, this is how it works in the business. Yeah. And like, he explains it so that he breaks the business down and makes you understand more than when you went in. He's not like, look, you're an idiot. It's, no, you're wrong, and here's why.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I love about Alex Kane. He's out there. He's being vocal. He's going on this podcasting tour right now. He's getting the name out there. He's marketing himself like nobody's business, which is fantastic to see. This is why people know who he is. They're going to continue to know who he is. He jumped within 1 year from PWI's top 500 in the upper half of 480 some, just like our friend Bougie, who was on Busting Out on Sunday. And he jumped right up to like 85 in one single year. I could only imagine where he's going to rank this next coming year, especially if he gets the victory over Hammerstone. But first, we're going to get a little taste of that from a couple of years ago. So on this card for the Ultra Championship, the champion Alexander Hammerstone defending against the suplex assassin Alex Kane. And I will say right away, one of the big things I like is Alex Kane's interaction with the crowd. At one point, I loved it. I started popping and laughing when they chanted, "Where's the suplex?" or whatever, because Alex Kane hadn't done a single one. And he goes to lock Hammer up to give him a suplex, and then he just lets him go, taps his shoulder. Nah, on my time, we'll do this thing. And so when he pulls that shit out, he comes out like a suplex assassin. And it's one after another, and they look vicious and devastating. And it really breaks Hammerstone down in this matchup. I like this. I mean, this is 2 years ago, these guys going at it. I can only imagine how good it's going to get on July the 8th, but I want to get your guys' opinion. Ed, what did you think of Hammerstone and Kane for the PCW Ultra Championship?
So I'll preface this with saying I think the world of Alexander Hammerstone to begin with. I like Alex Kane. I think Alex Kane is great. I think the world of Alex Hammerstone, though. I think this guy is built like an 80s world champion.
Yep.
He's the perfect definition of an 80s world champion that can make it in a 2023 environment. He's be able to do both, which is something a lot of people haven't been able to do. Ironically, the other guy who I think has the success that he has at the level he has is MJF. Dynasty, that dynasty connection with MJF and Alexander Hammerstone. The thing I like most about this match is the selling from Hammerstone. Once they get that ankle injury that didn't even take place in a match that he was in for PCW Ultra.
Nope.
It takes place when he takes the title off of Fatu that they tell you about.
Yep.
And I'm like, good. They're continuing the continuity from MLW. They're making sure that outside matches make sense and tell a story. Yep. And his selling of that throughout the rest of this match, until the very end, is really good.
Yeah. And I'm glad you referenced that too, because again, being fans of MLW, I caught it right away. I knew what the sell was on that kind of thing, but I was glad that Bocchini told the story. For anybody who might be watching for their first time wondering, where do I got to go back to find out why all of a sudden he's selling that leg? Why was Alex Kane like a shark sensing blood in the water going after that ankle? So it was fantastically done, well put together. Papa Smokes, you know these guys inside out. And again, I agree with everything Ed said about Hammerstone as well too. We love to sell Alex Kane to the moon because he took the time for us and spent time with us, but we're not underselling Hammerstone either. This, just like Ed said, he is built like an 80s champion. He looks like a 3 bodybuilders, combined together kind of thing. He's $1 million, and he can talk, he can work, he moves like great. I think the Nightmare Pendulum is a fantastic finishing move. So over to you, Pop Smokes. Your opinions on this.
Yeah, there's not much I can say more about Hammerstone that you guys haven't already said. I've always liked him. I thought he was great in the Dynasty, but I like the way he's become such a big babyface in MLW. At least this is where I'm used to watching him. But what a fantastic babyface! He's Hogan and Lex Luger all rolled into one kind of thing. But in this match, I was interested more in watching Alex Kane because, again, I've seen Alex Kane start maybe around the time that this match was filmed, but in MLW, he got a big push right off the bat. They debuted him with a big splash as though he was something to be reckoned with right off the bat. And I didn't know who he was, so I was on board with watching this. But so in this match that we watched, Kane versus Hammerstone, Kane still looks a little bit green despite his awesome psychology. He's very relaxed. He's very charismatic. He's a worker. He's an old style worker. He's not worried about his work rate. He's worried about working the fans, working with the referee, working with his opponent, to always have the interest and the tension of the fans kind of thing. That's what his real strength is. And over the last 2 years or so since this card was filmed, it's been amazing to see how that that confidence and charisma have blossomed even more, and his ring work has gotten better. So this is a nice little rewind just to watch, just to really realize how far he's come in such a short time. He's got to be considered among some of the main guys on the indies kind of thing. So like you said about the PWI 500, he's moving up in the world, and this is a nice little snapshot of a couple of years ago when he was just starting that climb.
Yeah, and I can't wait now after seeing this to see what we're going to get on July the 8th when MLW does Never Say Never. That card will probably be awesome anyway, but I don't even care what the other matches are. I'm happy to pay that monthly subscription fee just for that particular matchup. But fantastic part is we're going to get regular Fusion episodes coming up here on Fight TV Plus, as well as the live pay-per-view events as well, too, from MLW. So I'm glad to see that Court Bauer finally took my phone calls and took my advice on board there and went to that platform that I've been talking about for a whole year here. I've finally listened.
I have a question for Papa Smokes here, though. Watching Hammerstone, because I don't get to watch a ton of his matches in full, he feels like, and I'm going to say it because of the fact that I agree with it, but also we just lost him. He feels a bit like a superstar Billy Graham. Little less personality than Billy, but that body, the hair, he kind of invokes that same mentality of a superstar Billy Graham, that 80s world champion with the huge bodybuilder build, but can work, which is why I differentiate him from Hogan.
Yeah, I could get down with that comparison a whole lot. Yeah, the only real difference is Hammerstone is a bit more, how do I say it, more frenetic of a ring worker. He does more stuff than Graham ever did. Graham was just big, making the fans react to his personality kind of thing. But yeah, I love that comparison.
Yeah. And by the way, as well, too, we've lost superstar Billy Graham, and our condolences to him and his family.
Yeah.
I know that, it's a sad moment. Pop Smokes, we obviously are going to have to do a dedicated program here on Ring Respect to superstar Billy Graham coming up here very shortly as well, too, as we're being joined by the one cat that never usually joins, but I'm sure he'll be vocal throughout this thing. And Basser coming in here, he's got some information for me, saying that Ref Ben just messaged and saying that he's making his return to Warman, Saskatchewan this August. We should go see him and enjoy another dry wrestling. How did they get back into Warman is my question. And I'm not going to start naming companies or anything like that, but I thought they had a real difficulty after the last planned event out our way there. But interesting. I mean, by all means, hey, I like going. The dry event. That's so dry in the parking lot. But
why would you do a wrestling event dry? I don't understand this.
Because they don't have the license to do it. But the worst part is that both times we went to this show in this place, they had right on the poster, beer on site, like fully licensed right on these things. You get there like, where's the beer? Like, oh, if you go to the restaurant upstairs and sit down and order a meal, you can have a beer with your meal. Really? Thanks. Because I really don't want to sit ringside and get smashed and be a total jerk towards it. The poster said. All right, I'm down, brother. I mean, again, like I'm always down for going watching some wrestling. I mean, I always love supporting the locals here as well too. And there's a lot of good people they got over there. You know, I know that they've been booking guys like Bobby Sharp and Sean Moore and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm always down to go support the people that we love over there. And again, we can sneak the old flask in like we did last time, and we can be obnoxious and see how many of the wrestlers flip you off and tell you off because you're the loudest guy in the room, and it's even louder when there's nobody else talking. So, it's always a great blast.
I'm telling you, the McDonald's Cup, man.
The McDonald's
yeah,
Cup.
there we go.
It might not be hard to get it in there as well, too. Leave a case of beer in the bathroom. Oh, look at this. Bears, maybe I'll join Ben.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Parrish is going to hop in with Ben, come down to Warman, Saskatchewan, and hang out and have a dry wrestling show here. Because, yes, sports or sports-like things in Saskatchewan always end up with people sober, I swear. But
well, those CWE shows, Danny Duggan's shows from Winnipeg that used to come through, used to be held in Civic Center, kind of like a library and a gymnasium and a pool and stuff. And there was no concessions, no beer, anything like that in there. It was always weird. At the halftime, kind of everybody would run out and just like smoke as many joints and cigarettes as they could, or have a flask or have something. Everyone was just trying to get wasted at the intermission before they went back in.
Well, like Basser loves to go get his pre-rolled ladies' night out so that we can all enjoy a little bit of ladies' night out when we go to the wrestling show in the parking lot beforehand. Absolutely fantastic touch. As Josh coming in saying, if you give a beer when a customer buys a poster, do you need a license? That might be a clever ass way of getting around those rules here in Saskatchewan. I don't really know. I don't know if anyone would even pay attention for that matter. So I'm not 100% sure. Security didn't seem like it was at its highest. Myself and Basser and our buddy Jeff were probably the three biggest dudes in the room outside of Big Doyle. So, I mean, and some of the wrestlers, of course. But, I mean, it's always funny because I can say that, and I am bigger than probably 90% of the wrestlers that roll through here. I mean.
Didn't you have Papa Shango sitting with you at the one show?
Yeah, we did. That was the first one that we went to there. So, of course, we're sitting there and he comes in as the Godfather, does his spiel, comes back out. He's supposed to be sitting at his merch table and selling merch, and nobody's going down over to talk to this dude. And so he comes over, and all of a sudden, first match is going on, and I get a tap on the shoulder. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, just want to know if I could sit here and watch the matches with you and your boy. Like, sit on down, Pimp Daddy. Like, come on in. So,
no,
of course,
no, sir, you are not. I will not let you sit here and tell me all kinds of wonderful things about being in the ring and hanging out with The Undertaker. I refuse to allow you to tell me entertaining stories.
I think the one thing about it is that, like, when it happens, it just, I'm at these shows and stuff like that, and someone will come do that, and they sit and we hang out. Like, we just sit there and chill kind of thing. I don't necessarily go prying them for the stories or anything like that. It was cool to sit down with him, and he wanted to be one of the boys. So he's sitting down with Basser and I, watching some local wrestling matchups, and it was absolutely fantastic. And it's funny to tell the story and everything too, but it's the same when, like, we had Jeff Cobb in town and the stuff, and I show up to the show with all my equipment, and he comes over right away and like, hey dude, he's like, it's really nice to meet you, I'm Jeff Cobb. I'm like, no introduction necessary. I know who the hell you are, Jeff Cobb. Like, I'm the fan. Nice to meet you. I'm Bobby Munson. And same with Cody. Like, Cody Rhodes, so humble and everything like that too. And I'm trying to do the rookie thing. Like, dude, let me take your bag stuff. Nah, brother, I got it. All right, man. I'm trying to be cool. Like, but these guys are so humble and cool, and they just like to hang out and have some fun. As Basser saying, there was the 8-year-old bachelorette party that was going on at the one show that were wilder than he was. That was that same show. So there was like 2 rows of like 8-year-old girls at this thing, and everybody was pretty much silent at this show except for this group of 8-year-old girls who were booing and cheering whoever they wanted to. They came out to the ring, and then being an absolute riot out there. It was a blast. So we will go again, my man. We will go again. We'll create some more stories like always and come back to one of these programs and talk about them. But gentlemen, I think it's that time of the night. I think it's time to talk about the main event of the evening. This, I want to say, it's scheduled for one fall, which it is. but special rules apply because it is War Beast involved with this one. So we know this isn't a match. This is a fight, a war between two tag teams on one half of the ring. You got War Beast, the team of Jacob Fatu and Joseph Samael. On the other side of the ring, you got 5150. It is Danny Limelight Rivera and Slice Boogie. Damn, I miss those guys. Papa Smokes, they were killing it over in MLW. I know a lot of people not fans of Danny Limelight because he irritates you. But guess what? I think that's his stick. He's supposed to be that guy that gets under your skin. He irritates you. He's slappable. You want to punch him in the face, and you're cheering every time Fatu and Samael do it throughout this entire matchup. Bob Stokes, I'm going to go to you first. You're familiar with both these two teams. Your thoughts on what they were able to do in this one?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of War Beast. Obviously, we've talked at length on our podcast about the greatness of Joseph Samael and Jacob Fatu. Samael on the stick is just absolutely great. Love his wrestling mind and all that stuff, but I love me some 5150 also. I remember maybe a little more than a year ago when we were reviewing some of their matches when 5150 in MLW were kind of on the trail of the tag team championships. I said, man, this has got to be one of the better tag teams in wrestling, not right now, not meaning necessarily from a skill point or a work rate or anything like that, but just the kind of heat they had going within their own company, heat with the fans, that they were red hot for a while there. I love Slice Boogie a whole bunch as the bigger, kind of more powerhouse guy, and then Danny Limelight with the finesse and the speed and the smaller size, but he's got a good build on him too, and Danny Limelight can tear it up on the mic too. That whole run that they had in MLW, every match they had would start with Limelight addressing the crowd, and he got them booing and worked up every single time. So I like them as talents, and I was so excited going into this match.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And again, always awesome to see Jacob Fatu. That dude is one of the absolute best in the world. Ed, your thoughts? These two teams, how familiar were you with any of these four going into this, and what did you think of this one?
I've heard of Danny Limelight and Slice Boogie a bunch. I've not seen a ton of their stuff. I mostly heard about them once they went to AEW, and I'm not a huge AEW guy, so I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that they do there. I know, it's a shock, right?
I know.
It's like I've never mentioned that on a podcast before.
Never.
Never. But no, I really enjoyed the work that they did here. I mean, listen, War Beast had me on their side when they started chanting F New York. Like, I'm from Boston. You don't need any more than to get me on your side than start chanting that in the middle of a crowd. I thought that was great. No, this was great. I've never seen Samael work in the ring because, again, like I said, I like MLW, but I don't get to watch often. I see things, I see bits and pieces, I see matches, in a vacuum. I see a lot of the stuff they used to do on YouTube. But again, it was hit or miss. Grab an event and say, I'm going to watch this, and I would watch it. But I wouldn't see a ton of people doing anything. This was fantastic. I absolutely adored this. This fight was so great. Like I said, the only downfall to me is a lot of that early stuff in that crowd. Like, he's like, Joseph Samael just threw that trash can. I thought it was a fan. I didn't, because the lighting's so shitty in that corner, I didn't even see Samael. I just see the blue trash can get thrown at a dude, and I'm like, did a fan just throw a trash can at one of the competitors? But no, yeah. This was fantastic. This was absolutely great. I loved every moment of this.
Is this gonna fire you up here, Ed? We got Joshua coming in. Sorry, double name there, Joshua Joseph. Did you know Boston lost in the NBA?
I'm less of a basketball fan than I am a hockey fan. So if you had mentioned the Bruins, I would have told you the playoffs never happened.
Well, I think a lot of people, especially up our way, would like to forget that the playoffs just happened. That's for damn sure. Including our own Chris Parrish there.
The NHL playoffs didn't happen this year. The
Bruins going to get our Canadian Cup. Yeah.
No. It's going to be a long wait still, apparently. All our hopes and dreams were shattered, along with the same hopes and dreams of the Boston fans as well, too. And trust me, I work with a lot of Bruins fans as well, too, Ed. Like, it's, even though we're up here in Canada, the Bruin, fan base is quite extensive, and I work with quite a them.
We travel well. The Bostonians move around a lot. I think the biggest thing, Toronto always fails the country. You can always blame Toronto. But no.
Don't talk about Edmonton though.
I never think of Edmonton when I think of hockey. I'll be honest. Ever since Gretzky left, they ain't done nothing anyways.
Shots were fired.
Parrish is madly typing. Yeah,
he typed 1990.
Yeah,
I was 6 years old. I don't know. I can remember. I can go to the garden. I can count the banners. There's a whole bunch of banners up there in the garden. But no, back to this. This match was fantastic. I loved every moment of this. Like I said, lighting otherwise established, it was fantastic, and I was so on the edge of my seat on the post match. Yeah, that's fine, Parrish. I was so on the edge of my seat in the post match that I just wanted to find the next main event to see the continuation of what happened, because they had me. They got me, and I was like, all right, I'm in. Where do I go next?
Yeah, and that's like you'd said that earlier as well too, and that's kind of what they want to do: rope you into that next big main event. So you go do the subscription, you go pay for it, you go check it out, and that's what people should do. If you enjoy PCW Ultra, go check them out. If you like it, go and subscribe and support independent wrestling, because there's a lot of great independent wrestling. We got to mention Warbeast might retain the championships in this matchup because it was for the tag champs, and then we get the introduction of Papa Esco. This is a big biker-looking boy that comes out there with the baseball bat to take a beat down of Warbeast there, and leading up into that whole idea of doing that next match at the next pay-per-view. Thoughts on how this panned out? Go to you first there, Pop Smokes. Another Papo, well, Papo in this case, but Papo Esco, what are your thoughts on the introduction here?
But yeah, interesting. They wanted to obviously have him make a splash after the main event at the pay-per-view there, and interesting. I just wanted to say one more thing about the match itself, though, and to say, like, isn't it refreshing to see a match like this sometimes that's not trying to be a death match, not part of this the vogue that is death matches sometimes now. This is a company that will do it only when it's necessary for the card or for the furtherment of the story that they're presenting. I hate it when other companies just do the death match and brutal stuff to death like that, and with wrestlers that aren't even death match wrestlers. It makes no sense to me, but a match like this makes a ton of sense to me, because you have Joseph Samael, the innovator of violence, the guy that's been trained by a little bit by Abdullah the Butcher, by Dutch Mantel, and some of the old guys that taught you the tough way through wrestling, probably taught him how to defend himself. As I've learned from some of the old wrestlers, that used to be the first lesson, is before you learn any of these worked moves, you got to learn some real ones so that you can protect yourself and take care of yourself in the ring. It doesn't look like too many people shoot on anyone else in the middle of a match for real anymore, although it happens sometimes. But it gives that element of realness and reality to it, that this is a real brawl, and that maybe there are some moments where stuff is broken down, and the fans will watch for that and be mesmerized by that, as we all are. And I just think it's fine to do matches like that, but use them sparingly, use them once in a while, blow off a feud with a match like that, and it's absolute gold.
I think that there's sorry, Bobby.
Oh, no, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I was speaking on Papa Smoke's thing. I'm not a deathmatch guy. I know, I don't think Bobby is either.
Neither of us are.
But I love me a good hardcore match.
Yeah.
I like me a good fight. Give me some weapons. Give me some stuff. But I like the elements that they used here. This is all stuff that you find around with the exception of Jose Samael's railroad spike, which is something that you hide in the shoe, and that's so 80s that it's fine. But, like, we're not seeing light tubes. We're not seeing pizza cutters, Yeah. We're not seeing the ECW version where we're seeing, pans and cheese graters and things. We're seeing generic, stuff other than the thing that Samael brings with him. And I love me a good hardcore match. If it has blood, great. If it doesn't have blood, fine. But I don't need a bloodbath on my wrestling card. But give me a hardcore match. Give me a last man standing. Give me something with a little bit of weight to it, a little bit of fight to it. I'm down.
See, and the problem with color in wrestling, unless it happens accidentally, is you got to get to the why. Why do you need to have the color? What purpose does it serve moving forward? Getting color for the sake of getting color is not really the way to go about it. It just becomes a little bit silly and stuff like that. What do we got here? Quality Bobby. I must have missed something.
Equality.
Equality.
I don't know why. I don't know what we need equality for, but we need equality. Equality is a good thing. I like equality. I don't know what it's doing in this thing, and maybe for all the colors.
Oh, for all the colors. Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Thank you.
And we got Barry Monkey coming in. Hello. I only came in as I thought this was one of those TV dating shows. I thought Ed had to pick one.
That's easy. That's easy. I'm picking Papa Smokes.
Oh, hell
yeah.
I don't have to think twice. I'm picking Papa Smokes.
It's that voice, damn it.
Exactly. If I'm going on a date with one of you, it's going to be the guy that takes the hard alcohol and goes ahead and has this angelic voice. Sorry, Bobby Anna. Sorry, Bobby.
Not offended. It's all good. Yeah, I'm gonna, now that we can get back to the wrestling talk and not the dating portion of this show, it was a good. Barry Monkey, you're a funny dude.
Oh, come on, I was doing good on the dating portion. Okay.
Apparently, I'm spoken for by parish here. Apparently, so it's all good. Wow, you aren't. Shocker. And just so you know, everybody, I think that I got word about Making an Impact is going to be going on in approximately 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken there, Ed. You can confirm that you got the info there?
They're running a little bit late. We're expecting them in about 10 minutes, but it could run a little bit longer.
Okay.
But they'll be on just very soon.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping up here very shortly, and then you're going to have a time to go grab your next drink and head on over to check out Astrid and Cody on Making an Impact there. I'm sure they've got a lot in store for you guys, and it's going to be a fun time. So if you're up late on a Thursday night, that's what you're going to want to do. And Bear's saying, by the way, I'm hungry. When's dinner?
You missed something else,
bud.
You missed the comment above it that we're not going to deal with. That's why.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Oh boy.
And Barry Monkey said, spoiler, Impact was brilliant tonight. Well, I mean, it's not so much a spoiler as it is obvious at this point. Impact's been kicking ass and taking names.
Impact has some rough weeks. I won't say that they do everything fine and dandy. They have some rough weeks in there.
Yeah, everybody does. MLW does too. But again, as always, I got to say, when it comes to independents, PCW Ultra, or even the bigger independents like an Impact and MLW stuff, I'm a lot more forgiving of some of those things than I am with a big production that's got the money to think things through. They have the people, they have the experience to not do those silly things, and yet they still sneak them in there quite often. So definitely a little bit more forgiving. But Ed, I want to know overall thoughts. Would this make you want to watch more PCW Ultra after checking this out today?
Yes, yeah. If I had the money, I would be getting the subscription plan.
Well,
I would be going through the back catalog. This was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, as soon as the bills start getting paid through Rogue Energy and getting us those subscribers and stuff like that, we'll get all the subscriptions on the planet that we need here so that we can bring you guys all the content and all the reviews of everything here on our local establishment. But again, Papa Smokes, this is kind of our second round. I know last time we kind of watched matches that were done in the early days of PCW Ultra. How do you like this presentation, the way they look now, especially coming back from pandemic times and the presentation of what they got going on there?
Well, from watching this and then talking to Joseph Samael a few weeks ago, it looks like it's coming along. It looks like he's got his heels dug in and he's producing the show his way. As he told us, he wears a number of hats in that company, including making posters and video editing and booking and promoting and all kinds of stuff in that company. So it's really got his thumbprint firmly on it. And with a card that looks that good, that is presented in such a logical order and everything, I'd say PCW Ultra is looking great, and I'm totally interested in watching a bunch more of this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've really become a big fan of theirs. I like the presentation. I like the people they got over there. Even seeing the posts they got of things they got coming up or the ones they've done recently, it does give me that desire to want to go and subscribe to them and show my love and support, because I like talking about them here too. Again, they show us the love back. They definitely have checked out our stuff. I know Samael has checked out our channel and, giving me shit when I spell things wrong. So I'm double checking my spelling every single time now because he's set me straight, which is what you're supposed to do in the business. You set a person straight so they learn and they get their head in the game. And that's what Samael's done for me as well too. But yeah, gentlemen, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to the PCW Ultra side. I had a lot of fun talking about this here with you guys tonight. We are going to come to our wrap-up here, and we will raid out here in just a short bit. But if you're still with us, please stick around on the Twitch side as we raid out here shortly. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to go over to you first there, Ed. Where can the people find you? What you got coming up here?
So this is the end of my big week. You can find me on Twitter at EdFries12584. You can find me every Tuesday on Taking Over, where me and my co-host Astra Pizarro go ahead and talk all things NXT. I will be live at Battlegrounds for NXT next Sunday night, so I'm super stoked for that. We just found out that we're getting Dijak versus Dragunov in a last man standing match for that show, to go with a British Rules match, to go with Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. It's going to be a very, very fun time. And Carmelo's homecoming. The first time since he signed with WWE that he's back in Boston. So it's going to be a good time. Next weekend, you can find me pretty much everywhere, as you can see with most of us that are on the WWE side of things. We have previews for Night of Champions. We've got a preview show next Saturday at 11 a.m. with, I'm going to break it now. Astrid's here. She can't tell me no. With BR Doc from Twitter.
Nice.
Chris, yeah, he's going to be joining us for a Battlegrounds preview show next Saturday morning. The morning before. Then we have our post show that I may or may not be a part of for Night of Champions, but you can definitely catch that on the Ole networks. All kinds of fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter. You'll find it all there.
As Bastard saying, thanks for coming, Ed, and great show, guys. Again, yeah, thanks, and Bastard, stick around for that raid that's going to be going over here very shortly. Ship it up to Boston for taking over, says Chris Parrish. Barry Monkey, British Rules match is good. 3-minute round, then 15-minute break for tea and crumpets. Gotta love those tea and crumpets. But again, Papa Smokes, I think it's that portion of the show where you get to tell the good people where it is that they can reach out to old Papa if they want to talk to you about some wrestling.
Okay, I can be found on the private island of Elon Musk, known as Free Speech, known as Twitter, and it is at smokes_Papa. And then on Twitch, I'm at Papa_Smokes_.
Nicely said. And there at the bottom is where you can find me. Reach out to me with any questions, concerns, or if you just want to chat about some wrestling. Of course, you can also find me throughout the week on a handful of shows. And man, like Ed said, we have got one hell of a week coming up here for you guys here at our local establishment, with shows every single day of the week, preview shows, review shows. We're going to be having Lauren Knight joining us here at our local establishment. She's going to be joining me for a preview show of AEW's Double or Nothing, and including a review show as well too. Going to be a fun time as well there. I got busting out this Sunday. Alex Kane is on the show with myself and Chris Parrish. And of course, next Thursday night, we continue the party right here on Ring Respect Radio, and we'll see about Fusion. Fusion's going to be sneaking its way back in, making it part of a double night Thursday night double header. We appreciate every single one of you guys. As we're rating out to our good friend Heel Kevin, let him know that you were sent here by Bobby Munson, Papa Smokes, and Ed Fries, Oled, over at Ring Respect Radio at our local establishment. If you're joining us on the YouTube side, as always, we ask you, if you haven't done so already, to tell the like and to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you can get notified anytime we have new content here at our local establishment. 122 subs on YouTube. Let's get to that 200. I agree with you, Parrish. We're on the rise here, and with your help, we could all make it there. So do that favor for us. Say hello to Heel Kevin for us as well, too. Have a good night, and we will see you party animals next Thursday. Good night, everybody.